It's a beautiful day outside. So once we're done here, go enjoy outside a bit. But I'm just going to introduce myself real quick and then let you know kind of what I'm going to be speaking about. So my name's Abraham Gomez. I work at the State Treasurer's Office. I am the college navigator for our team. So what that means is I help families, students, K through 16, honestly, even into college. Then I help families as well when it comes to planning, preparing, and saving for post-secondary education. That can mean college, that can mean trade schools, that can mean vocational schools, certifications. It can mean a lot of things. It's not just helping you go to college. If you want to do something outside of it, aviation, you want to become a pilot, I'm here to help you, navigate those waters and help you find resources, money, and just make the process easier. So one thing we're going to be touching upon today, and it's our largest program that we offer here at the State Treasurer's Office. It is the Millennium Scholarship. So you more than likely have heard this scholarship if you've ever been in a Nevada high school over the last 23 years. So since the Millennium Scholarship has been created, we have given over $500 million back to Nevada students in pursuit of a higher education degree, right? So $500 million we have invested, the state has invested into you, into students, into Nevadans. So it's something that we're very proud about, and I'll definitely take any questions. If you have any questions, please feel free to write in the chat or raise your hand, however you do, and I'll be glad to answer them. I will be doing an iTunes gift card giveaway at the end. So pay attention maybe to some things because I'm going to ask a question, and I think the easiest way to do it is the first one who writes in chat, the first correct answer in chat. I'll go ahead and take down your information and we'll mail you that gift card at the end of probably not today, but probably Monday or Tuesday when we get back in the office. So allow me to begin. So we have two locations. We have our Las Vegas location, and then of course we have our capital, which is Carson City. The legislators are meeting right now, so it's called session. So they are in session, I believe, until another month and a half. It is when legislators meet and they decide the bills that are created, right? That, pretty much run the state and also our job. So they are currently meeting in Carson City. So we have a lot of programs in our office. I'm not going to go through all of them today, but we carry a lot of things. Specifically, what I would mention for you guys or for my audience is obviously the Governor Guinn Millennium Scholarship. There is also a memorial scholarship. What a memorial Millennium Scholarship is if you are in college and you are looking to become a teacher or possibly in the education field, we will also give you $10,000. So it's a $5,000 scholarship for one semester and another $5,000 scholarship. You do have to be a junior in college to at least apply for it. So, unless I have college students here, you may not be looking to apply that. But just to give you an idea, the memorial scholarship, it actually got extended. So if you know anybody who is a junior or above and is majoring in education, let them know. They can get $10,000 from our office. And I can be honest with you, we haven't gotten a ton of applications this year. So if someone was to apply, there's possibly a good chance that, if they write a good essay and whatnot, they may get it. So we have a scholarship database as well. If you are a junior and senior, even if you're a sophomore, you can go visit our website here at it's called navigate.gov. And you would actually find a scholarship database there. And we house Nevada-based scholarships specifically. And you would find there all the institutions that we have in the state, NSC, UNR, UNLV, TMCC, CSN. Each school will have their own set of scholarships that you can look at. So if you have an idea of what school you're going to go to already and you're like, I need to find some scholarship money, or I need to find somewhere to maybe, pay this thing for, definitely go visit our website. So I'm going to skip over this video.
Can you type that website in the chat so we can
access that? Of course.
Thank you.
Let me type it in there very quickly. So navigate.gov. So a little overview of the Millennium Scholarship, as I mentioned, it started in 1999. It actually is paid from Tobacco Master Settlement Agreement many years ago. So technically, every time someone had purchased a tobacco product in the state of Nevada, taxes from that went to the Millennium Scholarship. As you may, assume, or as you may think, smoking or tobacco sales have gone down significantly over the past 10, 15, 20 years. So not as much money has been being brought in with tobacco sales. So the treasurer now, as well as all the state legislators, they are looking for a way to fund the Millennium Scholarship. That can be through marijuana taxation, through other different means. But they are looking for a final solution to fund this for at least the foreseeable future, right? Just as I mentioned, we've given over 500 million and since 1999. So, that's about 23 years, because I think the first class was in 2000. So it's about 23 years and we've given that much back. So, our office is responsible for administering the trust and maintenance of it. So we do make sure that you meet the grades, you are eligible, but we obviously work with NSHE, which governs all the higher education, but we also work with all the school districts in the state. Does not matter where you are located. We will pull information from Washoe County, Mineral County, Clark County, everywhere. So it does not matter what part of the state you are in. You can qualify for the Millennium Scholarship. So where can you use your $10,000 at? You may be asking. So you can use it anywhere on this list. The list has grown pretty decently over the years. Maybe 7, 8 years ago, there was only 4 or 5 schools on this list, but as of now, there's 8. So you do have options, absolutely. If you wanted to go to any of the universities here in the state, you can do that. We will pay. Or also, if you wanted to go to Roseman University of Health Sciences, which is a recent one that has came about the past few years, you can go there as well, and we would also help pay for your education there. So for my high school students, how do you get the Millennium Scholarship, right? So there's technically 3 different ways to get it. First and foremost, you must graduate with a high school diploma from a Nevada public, private, or charter school. So this is the one ways you can get it. You can get it with the GPA 3.25, weighted or unweighted. More than likely, your unweighted is going to be your higher GPA. So feel free to use that. If it's above a 3.25, then you can get it that way. Or you can get it with an ACT score. An ACT, it doesn't say it here, I'll say it next. But the ACT score must be 21 or higher. If it's a 21 exactly, you can still qualify. So that, a lot of juniors, if I have any juniors in the audience, if you took your ACT, I think you took it about maybe a month ago or 3 weeks ago. If you had a 21 or higher, you already have the Millennium Scholarship, right? You have some peace of mind that, oh, I got $10,000 coming to me for college. Like, at least I know that's there. So that's a great way to go. And then the SAT score, I will mention that in the next slide. And you can also get the SAT with a certain score. You do have to be a Nevada resident for at least 2 years of high school. Does not have to be concurrent. That means if you came here as a freshman and you left and you came back as a senior and you finished your senior year here, then that would be 2 years. So you would still may be able to qualify for the Millennium. If you are military diplomatic service that is not in Nevada and you meet all the requirements, he or she is exempt from the 2-year residency requirement. So we always know that there's some circumstances that we do not control, or you control as a student, or as a not a child, but as your parents may work other places and you can't control that. So we understand that, and we definitely work with you. You must meet all the core curriculum requirements, and then they all have to be met before graduation. We have had students who thought, once they graduate from high school, they can maybe try to get a grade up or go back and take a summer school class. High school does not work like that. Once you're in college, you obviously are paying for classes, and if you wanted to retake one, you may be able to do that. But for your high school, what is submitted at the end of the year, when you graduate, it's pretty much locked in, right? So the GPA requirement. So like, as I said, it does have to be a 3.25, and it cannot be rounded up. So we have had instances where students have had a 3.24. And the reason we cannot round it up is because we are not the ones creating and making the grades, right? That is the school. That is your high school, specifically your school district. And what I tell students all the time, if you're at a 3.24, and you're finishing up your senior year and you took a class and you got a C plus on something and it made your grade a C instead of a B, talk to that teacher and let them know that you're going to get the Millennium Scholarship. The teachers are here to help you, to help us, right? I don't think at the end of the day they're going to try to hold you down or keep you down. They understand that. They just may not know that you're looking to get the Millennium, but definitely do that, your coursework calculated in the GPA is in your final transcript. So like I mentioned, we cannot change that. So whatever is submitted to us from the school district is what we take. So like I was mentioned earlier, if you have the GPA, that is great. You may not necessarily need the SAT or ACT requirements, but there are a lot of students like myself. I did not do well in high school. Honestly, maybe for my first 2-3 years, I struggled, didn't care too much. It is what it is, right? And luckily, I turned things around and I found the importance of not just school, but just what my parents wanted me to do. And, I know that I needed schooling to do what I wanted to in my career. So the light switched for me. And as I'm sure it switches for everybody at different times, different ages. But this requirement is awesome because if you struggled in high school, like myself, you could still get $10,000 to help you go to college, right? So the SAT requirement is a 1070 or higher on your reading, writing, and math. And then, as I mentioned, for your ACT, it is a 21 or higher. And for the state of Nevada, our average ACT score is a 21. So we're not asking you to get like a 25 or 24. That could be tough, a little bit tougher. So we're asking you to, get a 21, which our state gets pretty much averages. So we definitely make it accessible. So when I say you have to meet your core curriculum requirements for high school, this is what I mean. And this is different from most high schools' requirements to graduate. Okay, so this is a big difference. You have to have 4 years of English, 4 years of math, including Algebra 2. If for any reason you took Algebra 1 in your 8th grade year, you will, and sometimes they may do it on their own, but you will have to submit that 8th grade class to your high school so that we can have it on your high school transcript. 3 years of science and 3 years of social science or history. So those are the core curriculum requirements that have to be met regardless. So you need to have this first and foremost, and then combine this with the GPA that's a 3.4, then you're good. You're going to get the Millennium. Or with this, with an ACT or SAT, then you're going to get the Millennium. So keep that in mind. I know some students, sometimes their senior year, they may not be required to take a 4th year of math, right? And you may be leaving high school a little bit earlier, let's say 12 or 11 o'clock, because you don't have to take that 4th class. But if you want the Millennium Scholarship, you are going to have to take that 4th class. So it is important for you to know that, especially if you're a sophomore, junior. If you're a senior, maybe a little too late, right? But for the other ones, it definitely is not too late. As I mentioned, if you took Algebra 1 in your 8th grade, it counts as long as it's on your high school transcript. It could be as easy as calling your middle school, or your parents calling your middle school, saying your name. Hey, can you send his transcript or her transcript over to Sierra Vista High School? I need her 8th grade algebra class on there. They send it over, they scan it, boom, as simple as that. So for matriculation for traditional, there is no application process, guys. Every high school student in the state of Nevada is technically able to receive this scholarship. They have an open case on them. It's up to you, the student, to determine if you're the one who gets it or not. Even if you do not apply for this, you will be given it. If you've never heard of the Millennium Scholarship, but you had a 4.0 GPA and met the core curriculum requirements, you're going to get a letter from us saying if you want to accept it. Obviously, you don't have to accept it if you don't want to. You may be going to USC, Harvard, University of Texas, whatever it may be. But you're still going to receive the scholarship if you want it. We do send out letters, usually the first week of August. But for any reason, if you think, hey, am I a Millennium Scholar or am I going to get it? First and foremost, check with your high school counselor, because they can pull up your grades and then they can go to our website and see if you're going to qualify or see if you are qualified for it. Takes about 5 to 10 minutes, honestly. Or you can always email us. I'll provide an email at the end and say, hey, my name is so-and-so. I go to this high school, and give us your birthday, and then say, I'm curious if I am a Millennium Scholar. And someone from our department would take a couple minutes, look up your information, and let you know if you are in fact a Millennium Scholar or on track to get it. So these are for homeschool students. So parent or student must have been a Nevada resident for those school years. You receive a qualifying score on your ACT or SAT. That is mandatory. You have to have a school district waiver of attendance. If you're not homeschooled, you're not going to know what that is. But if you are, you should. And you must complete and submit an application. So for these students, obviously, you do have to apply for the Millennium because we are not pulling records from you, right? We don't know. We may not know you necessarily exist if you weren't to submit your application. So documentation of residencies, official scores, district waiver, that is what we would need, as well as your SAT and ACT scores. So for my out-of-state students, can you qualify for the Millennium? Yes. There is a little bit more, not loopholes, but just more red tape. So you do have to still graduate with a diploma from a public or private high school, complete high school with a GPA of 3.25, just how we have it, earn a qualifying score on your ACT, SAT. Your parent or student must have been a Nevada resident for 2 years of your high school. So if for any reason I was in 10th grade and I lived with one of my parents in California, but my mother lived here for 4 years or a few years, then, as long as she's been living here and as long as I've been at that high school for 2 years, you would still be able to qualify. You must complete and submit an application. And then again, documentation of residency, official transcripts, all those other things we would still ask for. So once you're given a Millennium Scholarship, you are actually given an MSID number, which once you get into college, or at least here in Nevada, there's called an NSHE ID number. It's similar, but it's completely different. So this MSID is specifically for you, and it lets us know which student you are. It can be found in your initial letter that you will get in the mail once you receive the Millennium Scholarship. All you need to do is acknowledge the award. So you'll be given to it. You go to the website, you will type in your MSID number, and then all you're going to say is I acknowledge the award. Even if you're planning to go out of state, let's say you're planning maybe to not even go to school, right? You're going to take a year off to travel or a year to work to help your parents, whatever it may be. Acknowledge the award. You have multiple years to use the Millennium Scholarship. So if you don't use it for your first 2 years, that's okay. And you decide to go to school your third year, you've already acknowledged the award. That money is still there for you. So there's a lot of students who left during COVID, who came back during COVID, and they were trying to claim their Millennium Scholarship, right? Because they didn't claim it the year before. And you never know what college is going to bring or what anything's going to bring. So it's good just to acknowledge it and still have it in your back pocket. So the online process, again, you do need to acknowledge it. It's just saying that you understand and are going to abide by the policies that we are given. It is important for you, the student, to complete it, right? Because Your parents, yes, they may help you and they may look at your grades, but at the end of the day, it is a contract with you. Once you submit it, the institution that you will see, they are going to see that you are eligible within 48 hours, except Roseman. You must notify them just because it's a newer, I believe it's a newer institution, and they may not just know all the ins and outs of the Millennium Scholarship like every other college or university that we work with. If there is a name, date, or birth, social security, a number mismatch, it may prevent this scholarship disbursement. So always let us know. Obviously, there can always be a different middle name or whatever the case may be. It may be different. So as long as you let us know and the school know ahead of time, there should not be any issue. Let's see. So maintaining eligibility. So once you have the Millennium Scholarship, how do you keep it, right? So first, you do need to be a degree seeking. What does that mean? Does that mean you can change your degree? Absolutely. On average, a college student is going to change their degree 3, 4, maybe 5 times. If you stick to maybe 1 or 2, then I'll give you kudos because I switched mine 4 times before I finally figured mine out. So it's completely fine to switch it around. So you do have to meet, you do have to have a minimum of 9 credits at a community college, which would be College of Southern Nevada, Truckee Meadows Community College, Great Basin. But if you're going to a state college or university, UNLV, UNR, Nevada State, you do have to take a minimum of 12 credits. Students must complete every semester, which they receive the Governor Guinn Millennium Scholarship, with a minimum of a 2.75 GPA. So I can tell you for a fact that number has come down. When I was in high school, which was 13 years ago, 12 years ago, the GPA requirement was a 3.0 or 3.25. So they have been bringing it down to maintain it, which is totally fine. We work, again, like I said, we work with you to try to have you keep the Millennium Scholarship at whatever cost, because we do want to help you. We do know that the cost of college is rising, so we want to be that resource for you. If you lose eligibility, you will have an opportunity to regain it one time. So eligibility can be regained once you meet the requirements. So if for any reason your first semester in college you get a 2.5, the Millennium Scholarship will be taken away. Next semester you get a 3.5 instead of a 2.5. You're going to get the Millennium Scholarship back, but you will be responsible for that second semester. You will not have Millennium Scholarship funding because you have lost it. But once you get your grade back up, you will get the Millennium Scholarship once again. Our system automatically emails you once it's reinstated. Students do not receive reimbursements for the semesters they completed while they are ineligible, just like I mentioned. And students may try up to as many 6 years to try to regain eligibility, which obviously it's a long time, but for however long it may take you to regain your eligibility with your Millennium, you have up to 6 years to do that. Unfortunately, there is a 1 strike and you are out rule with the Millennium Scholarship. It would have to be a very drastic reason, and you can always submit an application on, for whatever reason, if you got a 2.0 GPA, because give you a good example, COVID, right? During COVID year, we got a lot of exemption letters. We understood what was going on during COVID, and we may have given a lot of breaks during that time just because of what was going on. But it would have to be something very dire, drastic. So lifetime funding. So like I mentioned, you get up to $10,000. The reason it says up to is because you may not use it all. You may use 8,000, 9,000, 7, just to give you an idea, but you have up to 10,000. So if you hit that number, that is awesome. That's how much you have that is given to you. The Millennium Scholarship is good for 6 years after your high school graduation date. So as I mentioned, you got a lot of time to still use it even after you finish high school. There are exceptions for the 6-year rule. You can be serving time on active duty, armed forces, or participating in a charitable mission for a church, religious service, or nature. And then students also must have, students who have a documented disability or temporary physical, you would let us know, as well as your DRC, Disability Resource Center. And again, we would work with you as well. So is there an exemption for 6 years? So there is an exemption for active military and public service. So paid employment for a church or nonprofit or public agency does not qualify as a student for an extension. Extensions can only be extended up to 6 more years, depending on the time that you have served. And eligible students must complete the application for extension. And there's very few situations like that, but again, we do work with you. If you are a student with a documented temporary or permanent physical disability, you must sign up with the Disability Resource Center, which is at every college campus. It can be exempt from the following requirements: the 6-year limitation rule. You can have it for longer. The 6-year rule may not pertain to you. It can be 10, 12. It would be on a base by base situation. Minimum semester credit hour requirements. It is reduced load as well. So you may not have to take as many classes. You still have to achieve the GPA semester, which is 2.75. And then you must submit the form again to the DRC before the end of the semester. And then that disability resource form must be completed each semester, just to let them know that you are still an active student, as well as letting us know. So how much money are you going to get each semester, right? This is a question that we often get from students and parents. So it does get broken down a little differently depending on where you go. So if you are going to a university such as UNR, UNLV, you are going to be getting the max per credit as you can get. As you can imagine, university credits are more expensive than community college credits, right? University is technically a land grant institution that is there for research. Obviously, they're there for teaching purposes as well. But you are paying for a lot of different services and utilities, right, on a university, as opposed to a community college where the credits will be significantly lower. A state college as well, we will be paying $60 per credit. State colleges are more affordable than a university. Nevada State College, which recently they're going to be becoming Nevada State University, which we still don't know necessarily what that means for pricing and whatnot. So we're going to, as of now, this is still the most up to date, but we'll give you $60 per credit there. And then obviously community college classes are significantly cheaper there. So we would go $40 per credit for a lower division, and then $60 for upper division courses, just 300 and 400 level courses. So Millennium Scholarship will unfortunately not cover the price of everything. 20 years ago, 22 years ago, 23 years ago, when this program rolled around, $10,000 may have paid for a majority of your college. But just like we know, the price of everything goes up, unfortunately. Gas, does not matter what it is, right? So education is in that same boat. So there are other ways to fund accounts. Obviously, our office has prepaid tuition and 529 plans. If you're not familiar with a 529 plan it is a college savings plan. You probably heard of a 401k, very similar to 401k, but instead of for retirement, it is used for college purchases and college saving. So co-enrollment, if you wanted to co-enroll into 2 institutions such as CSN and UNLV, which I have done before, you can do that, and you can have the Millennium Scholarship, and it will help you pay for both. However, you do have to let us know that you are doing co-enrollment, and you have to let us know if you plan to combine your GPAs or have each GPA separately. So what do I mean? If you're taking 3 classes at UNLV and 2 classes at CSN, if you combine them, those 5 classes have to equal a 2.75 GPA. However, if you decide to split them, then you would have to make sure that you have a 2.75 GPA at UNLV and above a 2.75 GPA at CSN. So that's up to you to decide. But we do have several students who co-enroll. For one, it saves money if you take lower division courses at a community college. And especially nowadays, a lot of people are looking wherever they can save money, they will. So you do have that possibility. How do you co-enroll? It is pretty simple. You register for the courses, both institutions, complete a co-enrollment form with your financial aid office at the home institution. and at both institutions, I mean, and then you will notify as well our office. So you could let us know, hey, I plan to do co-enrollment. We also have a form, I believe, online where you could do that. So summer school, we do have, you can do summer school. However, we do not pay, then you will be reimbursed in the fall. So what does that mean? So that means if you take a few classes in the summer, and you were planning to have the Millennium Scholarship kick in, it will not be given to you that summer. It will be given to you. You will get a reimbursement check in the fall, most likely October. There is no minimum enrollment for summer classes. You can take anywhere from half a credit up to 15. To be eligible for summer, you must have been a student. So for if you were planning to use summer school for Governor Guinn, you have had to been in college or at an institution already for a year. You can't just finish high school and then jump right into summer classes. You could if you wanted to, but the Millennium Scholarship will not fund that first semester of your summer school. It would fund the next one. You can reinstate during the summer semester if taking courses at home institution. The financial aid office will automatically reimburse students for the classes towards a credit. Of course, if you've already been a student already in school. If taking courses at another school, a student must complete a summer reimbursement form and turn it in to know that that you were in fact taking classes during that time. So as I mentioned, the Millennium Scholarship will not cover the entire cost of college. There are different financial aid and scholarships. Financial aid is something that is, incredibly important. If for any reason you think I'm not going to qualify for funds or I'm not going to get much money, my parents make too much, you would be surprised. It covered the cost of my community college. I didn't have to pay for anything. And as I mentioned, I did not have the Millennium Scholarship. So for students who have the Millennium Scholarship on top of financial aid or FAFSA, you're probably gonna make some money by going to school, in all honesty. Depending on how much you qualify for, my parents didn't make a lot. I qualified for the max. So luckily I was able to have community college paid for. So always visit FAFSA, fill out the form. I am here to help you fill out the form if you ever need. I know schools, even till the end of the year, they may have FAFSA nights. Honestly, bring your parent if you need to, but you may need to because you will need their tax forms and you may not know. But bring your parent with you. You'll need some information, but you can fill out financial aid and, within an hour, a couple hours, you can see how much money they will give you to go to school. We do have a Millennium webinar. So these two ladies, Christina and Naomi, they run the program. Please feel free to visit us. We have a next one coming up April 24th. And we try to do anywhere from like 2 to 3 a month, just because there's a lot of questions on it. They would know almost everything you need to know about Millennium. So if you ever want to join us, please feel free to visit our website or our social media. We're pretty active on social media. You can see when our next webinars are. Let's see, other than that, here are their emails. I'm going to look at, I think I have some questions in chat. But if you have any questions pertaining to the Millennium Scholarship, feel free to ask me. If not, Christina and Naomi will absolutely be your contacts. So I'm just going to read, to clarify a point from before, can students be simultaneously receiving funds from the Millennium and the Memorial Scholarship if a junior? So that is a great question. The answer is yes. So if you had the Millennium Scholarship already, and then as a junior in college, you apply for the Memorial Scholarship and you also receive it, then you're going to get Millennium and Memorial Scholarship funds. And to be honest with you, if you have financial aid on top of it, there are Millennium Scholarship recipients who receive a residual check because school's paid for, right? And if you're not sure what a residual check is, it's literally a check that we send in your name, and you can deposit it into your bank account. Obviously, we advise you to use it for school purchases, but at the end of the day, it's just a check that's coming back to you, and you can use it however you deem fit. To purchase bus passes, to purchase a car, for you to go back and forth. It's up to you. Could you elaborate on the presidential scholarship? I'm not familiar with which one that one is, Alyssa. I know a lot of institutions. I used to work at Nevada State College. I know we had the Black and Gold Scholarship. And I know UNLV. I think you may be talking about UNLV or UNR. But I know they have presidential scholarships. But I am not familiar on those, so I wouldn't be able to elaborate, unfortunately. To receive credit for me. Oh, okay. And then I'm gonna ask, yeah, UNR. Okay, see, and I went to UNR, so beautiful campus, amazing school. Definitely recommend it for anybody. I really enjoyed it. So if you have any questions, please put them in chat. I'm actually gonna ask a question, and whoever gets me the answer first, I will take your name down, and we will send you a. We're working with the team in the background. We will get you a gift card to you. So my question is, if you have the Millennium Scholarship already and you are in college, what is the minimum GPA you must meet for you to keep your scholarship? 2.75. I think I got, let me see. You guys are ready. So I'm going to go with Dawn and Autumn. I'm going to give both of you, because it looked like I'm going to write this down real quick. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Feel free to keep asking questions, but I'm just going to write those names down to make sure that I do not forget it. So Dawn. Autumn. Is there any other questions? Dawn. Oh, let me look at the chat. Sorry. Can the slideshow be shared? Absolutely. Whoever, I'm not sure who I would share it with, but I can, if someone wants to, I don't know, do Brittany, if I share it with you, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. So after the conference, all of the presenters can send us their presentations, and then we're going to add them to the Canvas course that the teachers are using right now.
Okay,
So,
perfect.
Yeah.
Would you mind putting your email in the chat,
Yeah,
Brittany, just so I have it, and then I'll be sure to send it over right after the call.
Perfect. And then if you guys wanted the presentation today, direct message me in the chat and I can get your email as well, any of the teachers here. So.
And then for those two winners, Dawn Niskar and Autumn Kissaran, hopefully I pronounced it right. I will provide your names to our marketing coordinator, and I know he was working with, I'm drawing a blank right now, who was running the program today, but he's going to work with you to get your gift cards to you, either mail, or I'm not sure how he said he was going to work it. I know he told me on Friday, but we will get you those $15 iTunes gift cards. If that is it, thank you all for joining me. If you have any questions, like I said, please feel free. Oh, can you take the ACT or SAT after high school and get the scholarship? No, you would have to, I have to think about it. Sometimes there's questions. You would have to meet those requirements before you graduate high school. So to answer your question, no. But I have met students who had GPAs, and I don't recommend this, have GPAs of 2.0 or 2.1s, but they got the Millennium Scholarship because they got a 24 on their ACT a month before, 2 months before graduation. So, students can't say, I don't have any money. I tell students all the time, if there's 2-3 months left in the school, go to your library, rent an ACT book out or an SAT book, study that for a month, go to your teacher or a teacher that you're close with or a counselor, and they may even give you an SAT or ACT waiver so you don't have to pay for that. The school districts have a lot of waivers for tests like that, because there may be, I'm not familiar how much it is now, maybe $40, $50, $60 to take a test. And that may be a lot. But there are waivers for you. All you have to do is study, take the test. If you get a high enough test, you will get $10,000 from our office. All right, if that is it, I'm gonna take your email. All right, if that is it, thank you all.
Yeah, thank you so much, Abraham. We appreciate
No
it.
worry.
If anybody has any questions about the surveys, let me know, but please fill those out before leaving this session. Thank you, guys. For the person in the chat, are you talking about the last session or the current session, or the one we're moving to? So the last session was session 5, and the upcoming session is session 6, and this is room B. Okay, so it looks like we have till 2:35. We're still waiting for our presenter. And if you're still in this room for session 6, if you want to go to a different room, go ahead and do that. But if you don't want to, you can hang in here.
Okay, I got a new code here, 895031. I don't know how to do this. I'm not, hold on.